The rain drummed against the tall windows of the downtown office building as Sophia finally lifted her eyes from her computer screen. The soft glow of her monitor was the only light left in the vast open workspace. She blinked, realizing for the first time that complete silence surrounded her. Everyone had gone home. The desks sat empty, their monitors dark and lifeless. Even the reception area at the front of the building had fallen quiet. "Perfect," she whispered to herself, standing up from her chair. Her heels clicked softly against the polished floor as she walked toward the elevator bank. She pressed the down button and waited. Nothing happened. She pressed it again, harder this time. Still nothing. A cold knot formed in her stomach as she pulled out her phone. The screen was completely black. Dead battery. Sophia hurried to the back stairwell and grabbed the door handle. It wouldn't budge. Locked tight. That's when she heard them. Footsteps. Not hurried or panicked, but slow and deliberate. They echoed from somewhere down the hallway, growing closer. Her breath caught in her throat as a familiar figure emerged from the shadows. Andrew. He stopped directly in front of her. Gone was his usual business suit. Instead, he wore dark slacks and a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up and the collar unbuttoned. His expression was unreadable. "Forgot someone was still here," he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight in the empty building. Sophia straightened her shoulders. "I didn't mean to stay so late. I lost track of time." He took a step closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "Building locks everything at 9, automatic security system. No one can leave until it resets at 6 now in the morning." 6? Her voice cracked slightly. He nodded, then slowly reached behind her and turned the deadbolt on the hallway door. The click echoed in the silence. "But there's one room that doesn't lock automatically," he said quietly. Sophia's heart jumped. She should have felt afraid, but her body didn't flinch. Andrew walked away with measured steps, then paused and looked back at her. "Are you coming?" Without thinking, her feet began to move. Andrew led her into his private office. The space was elegant and clean, with a marble desk and soft golden lighting that made everything feel warm and intimate. Only the sound of her breathing filled the silence. He closed the door behind them. This time she heard the lock turn. Andrew leaned against his desk and studied her face. His jaw was set, his eyes warm but sharp. "Sophia, you've been avoiding me." She opened her mouth to deny it, but something about the moment made her close it again. "You're careful, smart, hardworking, but I see you." His voice dropped lower as he spoke. "I see how your eyes drop when I walk into the room. How you hold your breath when I pass your desk." Her skin flushed. Her hands trembled slightly, but she didn't move. "You think I don't notice, Sophia? I notice everything in my office." She felt like he'd stripped her bare with words alone. "I can't," she whispered. "Can't what?" "This, whatever this is." She gestured between them. "You're my boss. I need this job." Andrew's expression softened, but only slightly. "You think I'd use that against you?" "I don't know what you'd do." He pushed off the desk and closed the distance between them. "Then let me be clear. This isn't about power. This is about two people who can't stop thinking about each other." Her pulse raced. "You don't know anything about me. I know you work late to avoid going home. I know you take the stairs instead of the elevator because you hate small spaces. I know your coffee order changed 3 weeks ago from black to caramel macchiato because something happened that made you need sweetness in your life." Sophia's breath hitched. "How do you—" "Because I pay attention. Because I can't help it." The air between them crackled with tension. "I lost someone," she said suddenly. 2 years ago, my sister. And I've been running from everything real ever since." Andrew's face changed. Something vulnerable flickered in his eyes. "My wife left me 3 years ago. Took our daughter across the country. Said I loved my work more than I loved them." The confession hung in the air like smoke. "Did you?" Sophia asked softly. "I thought I was building something for us. Turns out I was just building walls." She reached out slowly and placed her hand on his chest. His heart pounded beneath her palm. "We're both broken," she whispered. "Maybe that's why this feels right." He leaned in, his lips barely an inch from hers. The sharp buzz of his phone shattered the moment. Andrew pulled back and glanced at the screen. His entire body went rigid. "What is it?" Sophia asked. He looked up at her, his expression suddenly cold and guarded. "You need to leave my office now." "What? Why?" Just go, Sophia. But before she could move, his office door burst open. A woman in an expensive coat stood in the doorway, rain still dripping from her hair. "Hello, Andrew," she said, her voice like ice. "Surprised to see me?" Andrew's face went pale. "Caroline." The woman's eyes slid to Sophia, sharp and calculating. "And who's this?" "Caroline, this isn't what it looks like," Andrew said, his voice tight. The woman laughed bitterly. "Really? Because it looks like you've moved on quite quickly." Sophia's stomach dropped. "You're his ex-wife." "Oh, he told you about me?" Caroline's smile was cruel. "Did he tell you the whole story? Or just the version where he's the victim?" "Caroline, stop! Stop what, Andrew?" "Telling the truth?" She turned to Sophia. "Did he mention that he's been fighting me in court for custody? That he'll do anything to get our daughter back?" Sophia looked at Andrew. His jaw clenched, but he didn't deny it. "And did he tell you?" Caroline continued, her voice dropping to something dangerous. "That the judge said he needs to prove he's stable? That he's changed? That he has a normal, healthy relationship to show he's ready to be a father again?" The words hit Sophia like a punch to the chest. "No," she whispered, backing away from Andrew. "No, that's not—" "Sophia, let me explain," Andrew said, reaching for her. She jerked away. "Is that what this was? Some performance for a custody hearing?" "It started that way," he admitted, and the confession shattered something inside her. "But it changed. You have to believe me, it changed." "When?" Her voice broke. "When did it change, Andrew? Before or after you realized I was convenient?" "It's not like that." "Then what is it like?" Tears burned in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "Tell me the truth." "All of it." Andrew's hands dropped to his sides. 6 months ago, Caroline filed to terminate my custody rights. She said I was married to my work, that I couldn't be trusted with our daughter. The judge agreed to revisit the case if I could prove I'd changed, that I'd built a life outside of this office. So you picked me. No, I noticed you. And yes, at first I thought maybe spending time with you would help my case, but then I got to know you, the real you, and everything shifted. Caroline's laugh cut through the tension. How touching. But here's the part he's not telling you, sweetheart. The hearing is in 2 weeks. And guess who the judge wants to meet? Andrew's new girlfriend, the one he's supposedly built this beautiful, stable relationship with. Sophia's blood ran cold. You were going to ask me to lie for you. I was going to ask you to come with me, Andrew said quietly. Because what we have is real. Not a lie. But you didn't tell me the stakes. You didn't give me a choice. I was afraid you'd say no. So you manipulated me instead. The word hung in the air like poison. Caroline smiled triumphantly. Well, this was enlightening. I'll see you in court, Andrew. Alone. She turned and walked out, leaving Sophia and Andrew in the wreckage of broken trust. I need you, Andrew said, his voice raw. Not for the hearing, for me. Please, Sophia. She looked at him. This man who'd made her feel alive again. This man who'd used her. I can't tell the difference anymore, she whispered. Between what's real and what's a lie. Then let me prove it to you. How? He crossed to his desk and pulled out a folder. Inside were documents, official and stamped. He handed them to her. What is this? She asked. I withdrew my custody petition this morning. Before Caroline showed up. Before any of this. Sophia's hands shook as she read the papers. It was true. Dated and signed hours ago. Why would you do that? Andrew's eyes were glassy. Because my lawyer told me using you would guarantee I'd win. And I realized I'd rather lose my case than lose whatever chance I have at something real with you. Her throat tightened. Andrew, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to know the truth. You were never a means to an end. You were the moment I woke up. Sophia's tears finally spilled over. But before she could respond, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She'd forgotten she'd plugged it into his office charger earlier. The message on the screen made her blood freeze. It was from her sister's old number, the one that had been disconnected 2 years ago. The message read, I'm alive, and I need your help. Don't tell anyone, not even him. Sophia stared at the screen until the words blurred. What's wrong? Andrew asked, stepping closer. She locked her phone quickly. Nothing. I have to go. Sophia, wait. We're not done. We are. Her voice came out harsher than she intended. I need time to think, alone. She pushed past him and out into the hallway. The building's security system had reset. The elevators worked again. She rode down in silence, her mind spinning. Her sister was alive. Emma, who'd supposedly died in a car accident 2 years ago. Emma, whose funeral Sophia had stood through in the rain. Emma, whose death had hollowed her out and left her empty. The message came again as she stepped into the rainy street. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., the old coffee shop on Madison. Come alone. Sophia didn't sleep that night. When she arrived at the coffee shop the next afternoon, she spotted Emma immediately. Her sister sat in the corner, wearing sunglasses and a hood despite being indoors. Em? Sophia's voice cracked. Emma looked up, and even through the glasses, Sophia could see her eyes were red. Sit down, Emma whispered. Please. Sophia slid into the booth, her hands shaking. How are you alive? I saw your body. I went to your funeral. That wasn't me. It was staged. Staged? By who? Emma removed her sunglasses. A fading bruise circled her left eye. By me. With help. I don't understand. I was in trouble, Soph. Bad trouble. I owed money to people who don't forgive debt. I had to disappear or they'd kill me. Really kill me. Sophia's chest tightened. So you let me think you were dead? For 2 years? I had no choice. If they knew I was alive, they'd come after everyone I love, including you. Then why surface now? Emma's face crumpled. Because they found me. And now they want something from you. Ice flooded Sophia's veins. What do they want? Access. To your boss. To Andrew Chen. The name hit like a bullet. How do you know about Andrew? They've been watching you for weeks. They know you're close to him. They know he has something they want. What could Andrew possibly have that? Financial records, offshore accounts, evidence that could put some very dangerous people in prison. Emma grabbed Sophia's hand. They're going to contact you. They're going to tell you to steal files from his office. And if you don't, they'll kill me. For real this time. Sophia pulled her hand away. You're asking me to betray him. I'm asking you to save my life. He just sacrificed his custody case for me. He gave up the thing he wanted most. Emma's expression hardened. And I'm your sister. Your blood. The words cut deep. How long do I have? Sophia asked quietly. 3 days. They want the files by Friday or I'm dead. Sophia stood up, her legs unsteady. I need to think. Soph, please. I said I need to think. She left Emma sitting there and walked into the rain. By the time she reached Andrew's office building, she'd made her decision. She found him working late again, alone in his office. He looked up when she entered, hope and caution warring in his eyes. I need to tell you something, Sophia said, closing the door. Okay. She told him everything. About Emma, about the staged death, about the demand for his files. Andrew listened without interrupting. When she finished, he leaned back in his chair. You came to me, he said softly. You could have just taken what they wanted. But you came to me. I couldn't do it, even for her. She's your sister. And you're... She stopped, the word catching in her throat. You're someone who matters. Andrew stood and crossed to her. We can protect her. I have connections. Security. We can... No, Sophia interrupted. They'll know. They're watching. If I involve you, they'll kill her just to make a point. Then what do you want to do? Sophia's hands trembled as she reached into her bag and pulled out a flash drive. I already copied the files. Before I came here. Andrew's face went pale. Sophia, what are you saying? I'm saying I'm going to give them what they want. But first, I needed you to know the truth. I needed you to know I'm not doing this to hurt you. This will destroy everything I've built. My company, my reputation. I know. Tears slid down her cheeks. I'm choosing her over you, and I'll have to live with that. Andrew grabbed her shoulders. There's another way. There has to be. There isn't. I've already made the call. The exchange happens tonight. Sophia, don't do this. She placed her hand on his cheek. Thank you for being the one thing that made me want to stay. Then she pulled away and walked toward the door. Wait, Andrew called out. She stopped but didn't turn around. The files on that drive, he said quietly. They're fake. I swapped them out an hour ago. Sophia spun around. What? I figured they'd come for you eventually. I've been preparing for weeks. He held up another flash drive. These are the real ones. The files they want. And I'm going to trade myself for your sister. No, Sophia said immediately. Absolutely not. Andrew's expression was resolute. It's the only way. They'll kill you. Maybe, or maybe I have leverage they don't know about. He pulled out his phone and showed her a screen filled with encrypted files. I've been gathering evidence on their operation for months. Insurance. If anything happens to me, it all goes public automatically. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't want you involved. But now you are. So we do this together, or not at all. Sophia's mind raced. There's a third option. I'm listening. We give them nothing. We go to the FBI right now. We use your evidence to bring them down before they can hurt Emma. Andrew shook his head. They'll kill her the moment they sense danger. We need her location first. Then we make the trade, but we both go, and we go prepared. 3 hours later, they stood in an abandoned warehouse by the docks. Rain pounded the metal roof. Sophia clutched the fake flash drive. Andrew stood beside her, his jaw tight. 2 figures emerged from the shadows. One held Emma, her hands bound, her face bruised. The other was a man in an expensive suit who radiated danger. You brought him, the man said, looking at Andrew. Interesting choice. Let my sister go, Sophia demanded. Files first. Sophia held up the drive. Her first. The man smiled coldly. You're not in a position to negotiate. Actually, Andrew said, stepping forward, we are. He held up his phone. On the screen was a live feed to the FBI. Agents surrounded the building. The man's face darkened. You brought the feds? They've been listening to everything. You're done. The sound of sirens filled the air. The man grabbed Emma and pressed a gun to her head. Then she dies first. No! Sophia screamed. Time seemed to slow. Andrew moved faster than Sophia thought possible. He lunged at the man, knocking the gun away. A shot fired, deafening in the enclosed space. Bodies collided. Shouts erupted. FBI agents flooded in. When the chaos cleared, Emma was safe in Sophia's arms. The criminals were in handcuffs, but Andrew lay on the ground, blood spreading across his white shirt. No, 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 Sophia sobbed, dropping beside him. Andrew, stay with me. His eyes flickered open. Did we win? You saved her. You saved us both. Good. His hand found hers. That's all I needed. Paramedics rushed in. They loaded Andrew onto a stretcher. Sophia climbed into the ambulance with him, refusing to let go of his hand. I'm sorry, she whispered. For doubting you. For everything. Don't be. His voice was weak but steady. You chose your sister. That's who you are. That's why I fell for you. The machine beside him beeped steadily. Don't you dare die on me, she said through tears. Not now. Not when we finally got it right. Andrew squeezed her hand. I'm not going anywhere. 3 weeks later, Sophia walked into Andrew's hospital room carrying coffee. He was sitting up, color finally back in his face. Caramel macchiato? He asked with a small smile. Black, she corrected, handing it to him. I don't need the sweetness anymore. I found something better. Emma appeared in the doorway looking healthier and free. Ready to go home, Soph? Sophia looked between her sister and Andrew. 2 pieces of her life that had nearly destroyed each other, but somehow, impossibly, had saved her instead. In a minute, she said. Emma nodded knowingly and stepped out. Andrew set down his coffee and took Sophia's hand. So where do we go from here? I don't know, she admitted. We started with lies. We almost ended in death. We're both still broken. But we're broken together. Is that enough? Andrew pulled her closer. It's a start. She leaned down and kissed him, soft and certain. Outside the window, the rain had finally stopped. Light broke through the clouds, casting everything in gold. They'd been through betrayal and sacrifice, fear and doubt. But somehow, against all logic, they'd found something real in the wreckage. Not perfect, not easy, but theirs. Sophia pulled back and smiled. Then let's start. Andrew smiled back. Together, the end.